Three takeaways from Bruins Game 3 win over Blues. The Bruins weren't intimidated by the raucous atmosphere at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. Boston came out and scored 3 goals in the first period, including one in the final minute, and rode that momentum to a 7-2 victory and a 2-1 series lead. This was the first Stanley Cup final game played in St. Louis in 49. Boston came into Game 3 knowing one thing for sure: if it didn't dictate the game in the face-off circle, it was going to be a long night. Ryan O'Reilly. Face-offs were a big reason why St. Louis was successful. Career postseason points for Bergie. NHLX. This was the 100th career postseason point for Bergeron, and it got Boston off on the right foot for the rest of the game. The Bruins were up 3-0 after the first period and 5-1 midway through the second. They dictated this game. When the Bruins acquired Charlie Coyle from the Wild in February, they knew they were going to get a winger who could help the team's depth and maybe score a bit in the playoffs. We're pretty sure. Okay, we all know Tuukka Rask and Patrice Bergeron have been the best players in the postseason for Boston, but what Coyle has done cannot be ignored. He scored his third. Puck movement is key to scoring a like this. Coyle now only trails David Pastrnak and Bergeron in goals for the Bruins this postseason, and the only reason he does is because those two players scored goals in Game 3 as well. Coyle hasn't just. It may start sounding like a broken record, but the fact is the Bruins' power play and penalty kill are a huge reason why they're up 2-1 in the series. In Game 3, the Bruins went 4 for 4 on the power play and are now 6 for 14 in the series. Even tougher for Boston's penalty kill has been absolutely stellar this postseason. It came into game, if St. Louis can't get it. Related slideshow. 2019 Stanley Cup Final provided by Iman.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.